My brothers and sisters, I came to tell somebody today that God is opening a powerful door in your life. Not a weak door, not an ordinary door, but a door so mighty, so divine that no man, no situation, no devil in hell can shut it. You've been knocking, you've been waiting, you've been asking, Lord, when will it be my turn? And I hear the Spirit of the Lord saying, now. But listen to me. Before God opens a door, He will always close some. Some relationships had to end. Some opportunities had to pass. Some things had to fall apart, not because you weren't good enough, but because what God has for you is greater than what you were holding on to. See, when God opens a door, it won't be a struggle. It won't require manipulation. You won't have to force it. That door will swing open with divine authority, and all you have to do is step through it. But here's the thing, when God gets ready to shift you, the enemy will try to shake you. He'll send fear, doubt, and distractions to make you hesitate. But I came to tell you, don't you dare back up. If God said it, He will perform it. If He opened it, He will sustain it. You've prayed for this, you've cried for this, you've waited for this. Now is not the time to shrink back. It's time to rise up, step forward, and take hold of the promise. Because the door that's opening for you is not just for you. It's for your family. It's for your future. It's for the generations coming after you. This is bigger than you. This is destiny. So I declare today, walk through it, own it, step into it. Because God is opening a powerful door for you. Are you ready? Because the door is open. Now go. Timing is everything. You see, we live in a world that rushes us, pushes us, and makes us believe that if it doesn't happen now, it might never happen at all. But God does not operate on human schedules. His timing is set according to His divine purpose, and when He decides to move, no force on earth or in hell can stop Him. Have you ever wondered why certain things in your life seemed delayed? You prayed, you fasted, you did everything you knew to do, yet the door remained closed. It wasn't because you lacked faith. It wasn't because God ignored your prayers. It was because His plan is always greater than our impatience. Think about a seed in the ground. You don't plant a seed today and see a full harvest tomorrow. There is a process, a period of unseen growth, a time when the roots are developing before the plant ever breaks through the soil. Many times we think nothing is happening, but God is working beneath the surface, preparing something greater than what we can comprehend. When God opens a door, He ensures that you are ready for it. A blessing given too soon can become a burden. A promotion given prematurely can destroy a person. God does not just want to bless you, He wants to equip you to sustain the blessing. That's why some doors don't open when you expect them to. It's not rejection, it's preparation. Look back over your life. How many times have you wanted something so desperately only to realize later that if you had received it back then, you wouldn't have been able to handle it? Maybe that job, that relationship, that opportunity would have crushed you because you weren't spiritually, mentally, or emotionally ready. But now that you've grown, now that you've been tested, now that you've endured, you are stepping into a season where God says, now you're ready. And when He opens that door, nobody, no enemy, no critic, no situation can shut it. People may try to block you, but they don't have the authority to override God's plan. They may plot against you, but they cannot undo what heaven has already declared. The only one who can stop you from walking through that door is you. That's why patience and trust in God's timing are so important. It may feel like you've been waiting forever, but a delayed blessing is not a denied blessing. God is never late. He is never caught off guard. He is always right on time, and when He opens the door, it will be so clear, so undeniable, so powerful that you will know this was God and God alone. There is nothing more frustrating than wanting something so badly, praying for it, believing for it, and then watching the door slam shut in your face. It can feel like a rejection, like a setback, like a cruel twist of fate. But what if I told you that the very thing you're crying over is the thing God saved you from? What if I told you that the job you didn't get, The relationship that fell apart, the opportunity that slipped through your fingers was actually God's way of protecting you from something you couldn't see. We don't always understand why certain doors remain closed. In the moment, it can feel unfair. It can feel like we missed out. But God sees beyond what we can see. He sees the dangers ahead. He sees the heartbreak you would have endured. He sees the stress that would have broken you. And in His mercy, He allows some doors to close, not to punish you, but to shield you from what was never meant for you. Think about how many times you prayed for something that didn't happen. Maybe you asked God to let you marry that person, but later you found out they weren't who you thought they were. Maybe you begged for a specific job, but years later that company collapsed. Maybe you cried over losing a friendship, only to realize that person was never truly for you. The doors that close in your life are not a sign of failure. They are a sign that God has something better in store. But the real challenge is trusting Him when you don't understand. It's easy to thank God when doors open, but can you still praise Him when they close? Can you believe that He knows what's best for you, even when you feel disappointed? Because the truth is, sometimes God has to block what you want in order to give you what you need. A closed door doesn't mean the end of your story. It means that chapter wasn't meant for you. Some people were meant to walk with you for a season, not a lifetime. Some opportunities were meant to teach you a lesson, not define your future. And some prayers were answered in a way you didn't expect, because what you thought was a no was really God's way of saying, I have something greater. Instead of crying over what didn't work out, start thanking God for the doors He closed. If only you knew what He was protecting you from, you wouldn't be asking why it happened. You'd be praising Him for His divine wisdom and covering. Faith is not about having all the answers. Faith is not about seeing every step clearly before you move. Faith is about trusting that when God opens a door, He has already prepared the way, even if you don't understand how. Too many people stand at the threshold of their blessing, staring at the open door but never walking through it because they are afraid of what they cannot see. God never promised that He would reveal every detail of the journey before you take the first step. If He showed you everything in advance, it wouldn't require faith. But faith means stepping forward when logic tells you to hesitate. Faith means walking into the unbelieving that if God called you, then He will equip you. Faith means saying, Lord, I don't have all the answers, but I trust that You do. Some of the greatest blessings are missed not because God didn't provide them, but because people were too afraid to move when the opportunity arrived. Fear paralyzes. Doubt will make you second-guess what you know in your spirit. The enemy will whisper, what if you fail? What if this isn't really from God? What if you're making a mistake? And if you're not careful, you will talk yourself out of the very thing you prayed for. Think about the story of Peter walking on water. The moment he stepped out of the boat, he was doing the impossible, walking on the waves, moving in a way that defied human understanding. But the second he took his eyes off Jesus and focused on the wind and the waves, he began to sink. The lesson here is clear. The conditions around you don't determine your success. Your focus on God does. There will be moments when the open door in front of you seems intimidating. Maybe it's a new job, a new relationship, a new opportunity that feels bigger than you. Maybe you feel unqualified, uncertain, or overwhelmed. But remember this, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. He will never open a door for you that He hasn't already given you the strength to walk through. The enemy's greatest weapon is doubt. If he can keep you questioning God's plan, he can keep you standing still. But faith is not about waiting until you feel ready. Faith is about trusting that if God opened the door, He will give you everything you need along the way. The only way to see what's on the other side is to step forward even when you don't have all the details. Too many people pray for open doors but fail to prepare for them. They cry out for a breakthrough, but when the opportunity comes, they are not ready to step into it. God is not just in the business of giving blessings, He is in the business of preparing you to handle them. The problem is most people want the reward without the process. They want the platform without the preparation. But God will not put you in a place that your character, discipline, and faith cannot sustain. Before God opens a door, He prepares you in private. He builds your endurance, He strengthens your mindset, and He teaches you lessons that will be necessary for your next season. Think about a farmer planting a field. He doesn't wait until the rain comes to start working. He prepares the soil in advance. He plows, he removes the weeds, he lays the foundation so that when the rain finally arrives, the ground is ready to receive it. The same principle applies to life. You can't wait until the door opens to get ready. You must prepare in advance. If you're asking for financial increase, are you managing what you already have wisely? If you're asking for a new job, have you been sharpening your skills? If you're asking for a godly relationship, have you been working on becoming the kind of person that God would trust with one? Many people miss their moment because they assume that when the door opens, they will figure it out then. But when opportunity comes, it is too late to prepare. Look at the life of Joseph. God gave him a dream of leadership, but before he ever reached the palace, he went through years of preparation. He was betrayed, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. But in every stage of his life, he was learning something: how to lead, how to manage resources, how to trust God in difficult seasons. And when the time came for him to step into his destiny, he was already equipped because he had been preparing all along. There are people who will get frustrated because they feel like they're waiting too long for their breakthrough. But what if the delay is not about the opportunity, it's about you being ready for it? God is not withholding blessings from you. He is making sure that when you walk through that door, you will have the wisdom, strength, and endurance to thrive in the place He is taking you. You don't want to be someone who finally gets what they prayed for, only to lose it because they weren't prepared. So instead of just asking God for doors to open, start asking Him to prepare you for them. Because when preparation meets opportunity, that's when the blessing is truly maximized. Every time God is about to take you to a new level, you will face opposition. The enemy doesn't waste his energy on people who aren't a threat. He doesn't fight those who are staying stagnant. But the moment you start stepping into purpose, the moment you begin walking toward what God has for you, the attacks will come. The resistance you are feeling right now is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It's confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. Think about it. When Jesus was baptized and the heavens opened, declaring Him as the Son of God, what happened next? He was immediately led into the wilderness to be tested. Right before David became king, he had to face Goliath. Before Joseph stepped into his destiny, he was betrayed, thrown into a pit, and falsely accused. There is a pattern throughout Scripture. Great attacks come before great promotion. Many people make the mistake of believing that opposition means they should quit. They think that because the journey is difficult, it must not be God's will. But if that were true, no one in the Bible would have ever fulfilled their destiny. The truth is, when you face resistance, it's often a sign that something powerful is on the other side. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if you weren't about to step into something significant. Opposition can come in many forms. Sometimes it's people speaking against you, friends turning into critics, family members who don't understand your vision. Other times it's internal self-doubt, fear, insecurity, whispering that you're not good enough, not ready, not capable. And then there are moments when life itself seems to throw obstacle after obstacle in your way. You start making progress and suddenly everything seems to go wrong. But this is where spiritual maturity comes in. You must recognize the attack for what it is. The enemy wants you to give up before you reach the promise. He wants you to be so tired, so discouraged, so overwhelmed that you walk away from the very thing you've been praying for. But what he doesn't realize is that every time he tries to stop you, he is actually helping to strengthen you. Resistance builds endurance. Attacks force you to lean on God in ways you never have before. What the enemy meant for harm, God will use for your preparation. You cannot afford to be distracted by the opposition. If you let every challenge, every critic, every setback make you turn back, you will never step into what God has for you. This is not the time to quit. This is not the time to doubt. The fact that you are facing battles means you are on the verge of something great. Keep pressing forward because the opposition is a sign that the door God is opening for you is powerful and the enemy knows it. When God decides to open a door for you, there is no force on earth, no enemy, no setback, and no circumstance that can keep it closed. What He has ordained for your life is not up for debate. It's not something that can be stolen, blocked, or denied by human hands. When He moves with power. When He speaks, His word does not return void. And when He opens a door, it is not a suggestion, it is a divine command. There are people who will try to stop what God is doing in your life. Some will doubt you, some will criticize you, and some will try to close the door before you can walk through it. They may try to discredit your name, set up roadblocks, or convince you that you don't belong where God is taking you. But here's what you need to understand. Human opposition cannot override divine authority. What God has set in motion cannot be reversed by anyone. Think about the story of Daniel. His enemies tried to trap him, throwing him into a den of lions because of his faith. But the very thing they thought would destroy him became the thing that elevated him. God shut the mouths of the lions and made it clear that His favor is greater than any attack. Look at Joseph. His brothers threw him into a pit, sold him into slavery, and thought they had ended his dreams. But they didn't realize that everything they did only positioned him closer to his destiny. God's favor will open doors that no degree, no connection, and no earthly qualification ever could. Some of you have been waiting on permission from people who have no control over your destiny. You've been waiting for validation, waiting for approval, waiting for someone to recognize your potential. But when God speaks a word over your life, it is already done. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to beg for opportunities. You don't need to worry about who is for you or against you, because when God decides it's your time, He will make a way where there was no way. Some doors have been locked for years, but God is about to turn the key. Some opportunities seemed impossible, but God is about to break through every barrier. What was held up, delayed, or blocked is about to be released. The enemy has tried to convince you that it's too late, that you've missed your chance, that it's over. But God does not operate on human timelines. His timing is perfect, and when He says move, no force in hell can stop you. The only thing that can keep you from walking through the door God has opened is your own doubt. If you hesitate, if you second guess, if you let fear paralyze you, you can delay your own breakthrough. But if you trust Him, if you step forward in faith, if you believe that what He promised is already yours, then nothing, no person, no obstacle, no opposition will be able to close what God has opened for you. The season of waiting is over. The door God has opened for you is not an accident, not a coincidence, and not a mistake. It is a divine appointment, a moment that has been set in motion long before you even realized it. Every challenge, every delay, every hardship was simply preparing you for this very opportunity. Now is not the time to hesitate. Now is not the time to second guess what God has made clear. The enemy will try to make you doubt, but he has no power to close what God has already opened. Your job is not to question how or why, it is to trust and move forward. Walk boldly. Step through with faith. Stop worrying about what's on the other side and start believing that if God led you to it, He will bring you through it. The time is now. The door is open. Go claim what God has already prepared for you.